This is my video for my class of interface of robotics with user interface. In this final project, we are going to use an LCD, an analog joystick, a remote control, and its receiver. We're going to use this to modify the position of a robotic arm. In here I'm going to be communicating from my computer to my Arduino. Right now it is currently showing me only the positions of my joystick. My switch is currently showing me a 1. X-axis is about 502. Y-axis is about 500 also. If you notice, right here my connections have to be on my left in order for this to be in the right position. So when I move it up, right here in my computer, it is going to start giving me a 0 in my y-axis. That's because I have it all the way up in the joystick. I can decrease the distance and it is going to start giving me a different number. Right here it is already giving me a 77 on my y-axis. We go back to the center, and then it goes back to the 500 readings. So when I go down, my y-axis is going to be at 1018. When I go to the right, my x-axis is at 1018. When I go to the left, x-axis is at 0. And when I press my joystick, my switch is going to start reading a 0. If I release it, it turns back to a 1. So this window is basically just to be able to read the positions of my joystick. So here we are back. My LCD, the first question that it is going to ask is if I want to modify my positions. So to communicate with that, I'm going to use my remote control. So it says star for yes and pound for no. So I'm going to press yes. And my receiver is going to be this one right here. This is where I need to point at when pressing my button for the remote control. So I'm going to press my start key for yes. So now it is going to give me position 1, and what I'm going to be modifying is going to be my base. For that, I'm going to use a joystick, either left or right. I'm going to the left right now. I'm going to the right. So we are going to be modifying the base, and as we modify the positions, these are going to be live. What my current base is at, that is the number that it is going to display. So right here is all the way to the right. So that is the position. I'm going to start moving. And the number decreased, and so did my position. So right now I want to be able to grab my little toy that I'm going to place right here by the tape. So I'm going to place my toy, and that is where it should be. But since I can modify my robotic arm only a certain way, I'm going to remove it for now, because the arm is going to be in the way. It's going to be throwing my toy. So this is my target. I'm going to release it on the other side of my table. So this is where I'm going to leave it at. This is my position 1, and it is at 134. And technically this is 134 degrees. My 0 would be over here where my toy is at. That would be my 0, and the opposite side would be 180. So this is going to be my first position, base 1. I'm going to press on my joystick, and that is going to act as a switch. So when I press on it, it's going to change. Now I'm going to modify the shoulder. This was working earlier, but for some reason it doesn't work anymore. So I cannot really modify that. But as you can see right here, it should be working. The arm probably got disconnected or something. So I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to move the joystick. You can hear it moving. So for right now, we're just going to leave it like that. My elbow is at 90 degrees. So this is my base. This is the shoulder, the one that stopped working. My elbow is going to be this one. This one right here. So see how I can move that one? Is at 105. I'm going to decrease. 124. It went down. I'm going to increase again. It went up. So I'm going to probably put it at around 65. I'm going to press on my joystick. Wrist vertical. So right here, my wrist vertical is at 13. I'm going to start increasing, and it starts moving. So right now it's not where I want it to, so I'm just going to keep on pressing on my joystick, because it only goes on a sequence. It goes from position 1, base, shoulder, elbow, wrist vertical, wrist rotational, and my gripper. And it is going to follow that sequence from position 1 all the way to position 5. So if I want to go and modify again my base, I have to basically just agree with everything else and go back to my modified positions that I wanted to go initially. switch, switch, switch. Okay, so we're back to the start of the program. So it is asking me to modify position. I'm going to say yes. There I have my base. So I want to move it right above the tape. So it's at 134, so probably like at 124, 125. Let's try. So right here at 125, that is right above the tape. So I'm going to press OK, which is pressing on my joystick. My shoulder, remember that's the one that I cannot move. My elbow, I'm going to lower it. So right here we're going to leave it at, let's do 74 degrees, my elbow. Then my wrist is at 180, that's all it can go, from 0 to 180. My rotation, so my rotation is also the same, 0 to 180. So that's 180. We're going to start decreasing. You see right there, 123. Let me change position. Okay, so we're going to go back to 90 degrees. There, 90 degrees, and that is how we want it. Press OK. In my grip, we want it open, so we want it at a lower degrees. So right here, 13, it is open, and 73 was closed. So now I'm going to agree with that one. I just placed my toy. Now we're going to start. Since I just want to grab it, we're going to leave everything the same and only change the gripper. So shoulder the same, elbow the same, wrist is going to be the same for both, and my gripper, that is where we're going to modify it. We're going to close it, 73, and our gripper is closed. It is now grabbing onto my toy. So we are going to agree. For position 3, I'm going to move it to the other side. But you notice how it is still on the ground? Let's just go back. So from here we are just going to lift it. So my base is going to stay the same, my shoulder the same, my elbow, I'm going to start lifting my toy. Okay, so from here my elbow went all the way to 1 degrees. My wrist vertical, I'm going to raise my elbow just a little bit. So you see how it was 180? Now how it, let's do 130. 130 degrees. So there, I lifted my toy. My rotation, I'm going to leave it the same, but I can rotate it if I want. So let's just leave it the same and let's put it back to 90 degrees. There it is. So agree. Gripper is still going to stay closed. So my base, I'm going to move it towards this other side. So there it is, position 4, base at 1 degrees. My shoulder, unfortunately, is still not working. So we can move it, and the degrees are going to change. But unfortunately, my arm is stopped working right there at the shoulder. So let's just move again. Elbow, I'm going to lower my elbow. Let's do some 50 degrees. 50 degrees right there. Green. My wrist vertical. Let's lower that one also. Right there. Rotational, we don't need to modify that. My gripper, I can already drop it here. So let's open it and do that. Or no, never mind. We're going to leave it closed. On the position 5, that is where we are going to drop it. So position 5, base 1. Shoulder, leave it the same. Elbow, we have it at 50. Let's lower it a little bit. Right there, that should be good. Agree. Vertical, we can lower it up. We can also lower it down just a tiny bit. Or never mind, it's already at 180 degrees. So going to agree. Rotational, not again, we don't need that right now. And gripper, we're going to open it now. And this is where we are going to drop it. So we're going to agree to that one. Now I'm going to press no on my pound key for no. So now it is asking me if I want to run my sequence. If I press no, it's going to go back to my question if I want to modify my positions. So let's press no again. Do I want to run my sequence? Yes, I do. So I'm going to press on my star. Now it is asking me how many times I want to repeat it. let's do it 3 times right now. So I'm going to press on 3 and it is going to start my sequence. And now I'm gonna have to be moving my toy because I don't have like, well, that's the only toy I have, so I'm going to have to physically moving it back to the position. So let's press on 3. Again, let's do that again. Let's do it like 5 times. Let's see if I can keep up with the arm. Going to press 5. So modify position, no. Run sequence, yes. How many times? Let's do 9 times. So this is my final project. And right here, it's a pretty long code. I have to start with my LCD, which would be the liquid crystal. And start with my libraries, wire, servo. Servo is for my motors. These right here, they are servo motors, so that is how I'm going to modify it. My Braccio, that is basically my board, so that I can communicate with that one and modify positions and everything. And IR remote is for my remote control. So right here I have event interval 1. These are going to be variables. Event interval 2. Basically event interval 1 is for when I want to let me go that one because I don't remember that one. So my first event interval is going to be right here. It's going to be for how much time I want to display my results for my joystick. Then let me see if I can find event interval 2. But I think I removed that one. I think I did, so I don't really need it. Yeah, I was using it for something else, but I forgot to remove it, so we can remove that one. Just to be sure, we can check right here, verify. And if it gives me an error, it's because I was using it somewhere. But now it says already done compiling, so. So also, I'm going to remove previous time right here. This other variable, I don't need it either. So okay, I just need these two, event interval and previous time. That is going to be for my intervals of how much time I want to repeat my information of my joystick. So right here, the 500 is basically saying every half a second. 1 second would be equivalent to 1000 milliseconds. So, and then after that, I have my X pin for my X axis. So it's going to use pin 0. My Y pin, Y axis, is going to be on pin 1. My switch, pin 8. I have a variable that says timing. It's going to be 1000, so 1 second. Go to delay, it's going to be 500. My remote is going to be on pin 7. And that is it for my variables. Going to start my remote control. Then I have more variables, but these are for the Braccio robotic arm. So right here it says it is going to be servo. It's going to be the base. So I'm going to be looking for a servo motor identified as a base. Right here, the same thing, servo shoulder, servo elbow, servo wrist ver, servo wrist rote, servo gripper. These are going to be the ones for I communicate with my Braccio and modify the positions. I'm going to be modifying my degrees, and this is how I can do that. Since I have 5 different positions, I created different variables for each position. Position 1 is going to be position 1 base. That is the only one that is going to have an equivalent to 90. P1 shoulder 90, P1 elbow 90, P1 wrist ver 90, P1 wrist rote 90, P1 gripper 73. Let's change that one back to 13 so that it can stay open. The gripper can stay open. So P1 basically position 1 and then base. Position 1 shoulder. So that I'm going to have 5 different ones. So right here the next one is P2 base, P2 shoulder. That is going to be the same thing all the way to P5. In my setup, I'm going to declare my pins. My switch pin is going to be an input, and I'm going to always run energy through that one. So it's going to be on high. I'm going to initiate my communication with my Braccio, initiate my LCDs, going to begin communication with my computer to the Arduino, serial.begin. Also enable my receivers for my remote control, and it is always going to be sending information. Then right here I have a function that is called Braccio home. I created this function. Basically it is going to always have the same position, 90 90 90 90 90 13. So these are never going to change. I have other functions that say position 1, position 2, position 3, 4 and 5, and this is where I have my variables. Let's put here, I'm going to modify my program right now. So right here in position 1, this is my variable P1 base, P1 shoulder, P1 elbow, and these are the ones that I'm going to be modifying. This is how I am able to write different positions. Then I have my run sequence function. I'm going to start in my home position, so that is Braccio home, then go to position 1, and I have a delay right here in between each position, so that is going to be a 1 second delay. And then let's go back to the void loop. So right here we started with my Braccio home function. We are going into the loop. I decided to use goto functions, goto statements, so those are going to get me out of some loops and go into different position in my program. So right here, this start, that is a label. So from my goto, I'm going to say goto start, and this is where it is going to go. So if my program reads some results from the remote control, I'm going to print that in my right here in my screen information, where I'm printing my switch and x-axis. I'm